Hey guys, it's Open Social Thoughts. I had an epic live streaming malfunction today, as some of you guys know, because some of you guys tuned in and you guys saw why there wasn't sound, which honestly is beyond me. I'm gonna try to figure it out because that is so bizarre. That's the first time that has ever happened. I think it has to do something with my internet connection. So I'll see what's up. For now, I am going to do this offline and upload it so you guys can still check out what my film favorites were of the month of April. So April was a pretty stacked month because I was working for the Indian Film Festival and I was doing their social media, and my goals for that month was finishing my Girl Talk series, which I did. I released 2 episodes, episode 6, episode 7. And I went to Korea last year and I thought, you know what, I have to make a Girl Talk series. And so I did. And honestly, it's one of my favorite ones. I made the series because I was kind of sick of other people talking for Asian women. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to just tell our story the way we want to, or the way I want to see it. And it's probably one of my favorite things I've ever done. So definitely check that out in my channel. It is now up. And yeah, I've been trying to work on set more because as much as I love watching films, I'm never going to be able to make my own shorts and films, features, all that good stuff if I don't start working on set. So that is what I've been doing for the past month, creating as much as I can. So you might not see as much content here, but I created my So's film diary so you can follow me on my journey to filmmaking or on my road of filmmaking, eventually going on. Sure. So that's very exciting. Please feel free to tune in. I did my first or the second episode of So's Film Diaries of the Indian Film Festival. I was running around watching a lot of Indian films. I will be releasing a new film, So's Film Diaries, this week and probably coming weeks, because honestly, that is what I've been doing. I've been on set more. I've been getting a lot more experience rather than watching movies, which is great, but I think I need to hone down. My film diaries are comprised of my Instagram stories, so instead of actually seeing it on YouTube, like weeks later, you can see it right then and there if you follow me on Instagram at socialrealthoughts.com. So yeah, April was amazing, great. But to get really started, as you know, I'm a huge fan of the Fast and the Furious series. Like, I mean, I think a lot by now everyone's like so tired of the series. It's bloated and has exploded into this franchise that's beyond anything. And for me, because I was there from the very beginning when it came out and it was based in Little Saigon with the Saigon Boys and Johnny Tran, who honestly they need to bring back. They need to bring back Johnny Tran. That'd be epic. Yeah, I've been with them for so long. I'm a dedicated fan and I really like car movies. So I was like, you know what? I have to watch Fast 8, which is the first film of the trilogy that they're doing with Charlize Theron, which will be epic. I really just liked the film for what it was. Jason Statham had honestly the best action sequences ever. And let me note that Charlize Theron, despite her questionable hair looks and some stuff, her hacking abilities, she was a great villain. There has never been somebody who has kept me that on edge in a very long time, and she knew how to keep the suspense going, so I applaud her for that. Also, she's just a general badass. Love her. I wish she actually did like a little bit more fighting, but maybe in the next one we'll see her a little bit more outside and not so in her computer zone, because hackers can only do so much. So yeah, F. Gary Gray, who did Straight Outta Compton, directed this one, and as much as the execution needed a little bit help. I just wanted to be a little bit more concise. I think this film, out of all the films, it felt like all the films were leading up to this epic film, because the theme of family is really cemented in this movie, in their story, their characters, and everything. And despite its like shoddy form at times and execution, I think its message was so powerful. I can overlook the other things. So I'm still very excited for the other films. I mean, I don't know if any franchise has gone up to 10 films, but yeah, pretty epic. So Fast 8. Let me know if you guys watched it. Check out my trailer reaction that I did for Fast 8, because that is I always have a very good time with that one. Okay, so another film favorite is one that came out straight out of Sundance. If you watched The Green Room, Jeremy Saulnier's Green Room, you know who I'm going to talk about next, which is Macon Blair, who is a longtime collaborator of Jeremy Saulnier. He was also in The Green Room. Check out my review of that over here. Oh my god, right here? Am I doing that? This is his directorial debut feature, and you can see he has gotten some inspiration from Saulnier, and as this is a very revenge type of film, I would say. So the movie, I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, premiered at Sundance, and it went straight to Netflix, which is great because, as we know, Netflix is very accessible despite its non-existent marketing and PR. So basically, it's about when a depressed woman is burglarized. She finds a new sense of purpose by tracking down the thieves alongside her obnoxious neighbor. But they soon find themselves dangerously out of their depth against a pack of degenerate criminals. Macon Blair's first film ever, and honestly, it's a really great first film. We get this revenge kind of, as we know, he works with Jeremy Saulnier a lot, who taps into the revenge, the theme of revenge quite often, as seen in his previous work. But instead of going super gritty this time, Macon really focuses on the reality of things. So Melanie Linsky and what's his face? Elijah Wood star in this, and they're such a good pair. They're such an odd couple pair, but they're very like homebodies. I liked it that it was very realistic in how a regular person would have approached this situation, without it being like really truly unrealistic. Sometimes when you talk about revenge films, like, boy, that's a little unrealistic. So what I really appreciated about this one is it was so rooted in realism, as if, what would your next door neighbor do? And what would you do if you were burglarized and you wanted to track down these creepers that stole your stuff? But at the same time, you have to really question at what cost. How far are you willing to go, and what are you willing to lose in that process? And I think in the end, it really summed everything up and made it a very kind of beautiful movie about the depths that we will go and the cost that we will have to pay for that stubbornness. Yeah, and it was just really, really beautiful, really great. I did like they did go a little bit gritty in the violence, which is always appreciated, and it doesn't sugarcoat anything, which I really like, and it really keeps it down to earth. So definitely check out I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore on Netflix. They should really start advertising all this stuff. But I really, there are characters in here that feel so real, and they're very scary. You know that these people exist, and the situations they put themselves in is yeah, how far will you go to get the things that you may have lost? That is the main question in this. And Melanie, I love her. I love her. She's such a real person in every aspect, in her mannerisms, in her looks, in her struggle of just being a fucking human being in this planet. Loved it. So, another film favorite of April was Ben Wheatley's Free Fire. As we know, he came out with a film maybe last year, right? Let me backtrack on this one. He wrote Free Fire with his wife Amy Jump, who they've collaborated for many of his films, which I loved. Honestly, if I've watched several of his films, and I can say I liked the Kill List the most. 2011 Kill List. Watch it. You'll not regret it. And then, of course, he kind of, did The Sightseers, which I really liked. And then he did High Rise, which was this decadent, like, eye candy, which felt like a lot and a little empty, but at the same time, I can appreciate the art form. And now we have Free Fire, which he kind of goes back to his roots of violence. And I did I like it? I did like it. Initially, I did like it for what it is. It is mindless fun. I really appreciate the screenplay because you take so many characters. This has the most stacked cast ever. Let's go down the list, shall we? Okay. We have Brie Larson, Sam Riley, Cillian Murphy, Army Hammer, Charlotte Copley, Babo Cisse, Noah Taylor, Jack Renner, oh my god, Enzo Cilenti. There's a crap load of people and so many different characters. But what they did so beautifully is they cemented each character's personality and their different situations in this overall situation so well. And I feel like that's very hard to do, especially with so many things going on in the story. And yeah, beautifully done. Yes. So you take like 12 characters, put them in one situation, and build their goals and characters and mannerisms to a point where you understand who they are and what side they are on. And it just makes the whole viewing experience that much more clear because you're not wondering, oh, who are they? Like, what team are they on? And all this other stuff. Loved that. And the story is pretty simple. It's set in Boston, 1978. A meeting in a deserted warehouse between two gangs turns into a shootout and a game of survival. Very simple premise. So it's like, how do you take this very simple premise and drag it on for like 2 hours? And the thing that they do well is character development as well as building up drama to result in this huge collision. Because realistically, it's like, at what point, if you were to have a transaction with somebody, at what point will it lead to a big shootout? Like, what could actually trigger that? And they do a really great job in exploring what could and should happen to lead to that point in these characters. And I thought that was great. There's sometimes, because after a while, I know that they're just shooting at each other. I wish there were different tactics and obstacles, not just people shooting at one another. I think they did as best as they can in terms of utilizing the warehouse space and the teams that were against each other, as well as the materials they had on hand. but also at the same time, I was like, I just wanted a little bit more. I just wanted them to really crank out the shots, uh, just do it bigger, badder. But besides that, I really enjoyed it. I think Brie Larson was kick-ass. A lot of the characters I really, really loved. Cillian Murphy has been one of my favorites since Batman, the first Batman? Batman Returns? Yeah. And oh man, he was so great. And I just, there's a lot of characters in this that really, they're so real. They're not faking it. They're not reading words off the paper. They're real people that have like act like this, and I just had a really good time, especially because you get so many personalities in one space, and of course they're gonna clash, and of course the backstory comes in, and it really, really helps. So I loved that. So yeah, so we have Fast 8. I don't feel at home anymore. Let's see. Yeah, I don't feel at home in this world anymore. Macon Blair's first film ever. And then we have Ben Wheatley's Free Fire. Those were my film favorites, but as you know, I've been trying to watch Criterion films a little bit more, and the one Criterion film that I was able to squeeze in this month was Hao Xiaoshen's Millennium Mambo, and that came out 2001, and holy crap. So the premise is, it's Taipei, a voice off camera looks back 10 years to 2000 when Vicky was in an on and off relationship with How. She's young, lovely, and aimless. He's a slacker, and basically she's just trying to find herself out of this relationship. Will she grow? Will she be stunted? What I really loved about this film, which was very shocking because, as you know, I'm currently trying to write a feature, which is not gonna finish ever. Like, give me another 5 fucking years. This film was very, very reminiscent of my script, which I kind of was like, oh my god. Basically, somebody already wrote my script, but in very different ways. But there were so many inspirations in this film and little moments where I was like, this feels very much like my film, and I'm glad that I saw it so I can reference it and I can take it and tweak it a little bit. It's not exactly the same, but I really loved watching this film because it was so real, and they let the action play out in so many key moments, and you felt the characters' emotions build up in very simple scenes, like very simple. And you got to really feel what kind of character and who Vicky is. So this is party girl dealing with her boyfriend, and there are moments when they're fighting that feel so real. Like, honestly, it's like, oh, I've been there. And I loved it. Sadly, honestly, I don't want to admit this. This is the first Hao Xiaoshen film I've seen, and it was a freaking great one. That opening scene is by far the best fucking scene like I have ever seen, ever. I really want to steal it, but honestly, people will be like, you stole it from this movie because it's so iconic. Yeah, so Millennium Mambo, I think that's about it. April has been a great month. May is going to be even that much crazier. Hoping to work on more sets, hoping to watch more films, hoping to make more videos in general. I do have my vlog channel, my personal vlog channel. I have it in my bio if you want to check that out. So yeah, April has been very successful. May is going to be that much more kick-ass. Please check out my Girl Talk series and tell me what you think. Really inspired by Jim Jarmusch's work, and I kind of took inspiration and tried to make it my own, as well as other things. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Sorry that the live stream did not work out. That is a shit show. I have to try to figure out what happened there, but I'm glad that I was able to do it like this, which isn't as great because I would prefer to actually interact with you guys. But nonetheless, we did it. We had this conversation. Let me know your thoughts below. Subscribe if you haven't. Let me know what your film favorites were, because I know there's so many films that I didn't get to watch that I'm sure that you got to watch. So I would definitely love to know your favorites. Anyways, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye.